Hello everyone, I'm Carthu, and welcome back to the dojo. Today, we surpassed the subscriber milestone of 50,000. Well, not actually today, but you get what I mean. And I can't thank you guys enough. So, for this 50K special, I'm doing something that's been requested for a very long time. What if Carthu was in Dragon Ball? I've taken some liberties here to make it a unique story, and I feel like it'll really surprise you. Let's get into it. Earth, a planet of many peoples, cultures, and delicious foods. Inhabited by Earthlings who come in many shapes and sizes, who are furry and hairless, who are weak and strong, the planet is brimming with potential. Enter Carthu, a young man who has traveled the world to master martial arts and grow as a fighter. To him, every new day is a day to get stronger, and while he'd rather not fight unnecessarily, sometimes there's no choice. Along his journey, an evil organization was forming to take over the world, an organization not too dissimilar from the Red Ribbon Army. This group was called the Blue Badge Army. This military power was attacking towns, killing those who opposed them, and taking over the resources of the world, one at a time. In response, the King of the Earth has made multiple statements claiming he would escalate the level of retaliation against them should their evil deeds not stop. This is where Carthu gets involved. Carthu, on his journey throughout the world, has run into and defeated the army on multiple occasions, usually done just out of the goodness of his heart. But the people of these saved towns would reward him in food, which would help him extend the duration of his journey. This constant dismantling of the biggest threat to civilization garnered the attention of the King of Earth, who had Carthu brought in to task him with a mission.
I don't know how you do it, but we need someone to help us stop the Blue Badge Army before we take more extreme measures.
The look in the king's eyes was very serious, a tension that the adventure-seeking Carthu was completely unused to. So, he agreed.
You'll have half a day to get this done. We have no more time to waste.
The plan was a covert raid on the army's base, preparations were made, and the assault began. Carthu would have preferred to do this alone, but the king insisted on sending his best soldiers with him. They make their way through the base, eventually reaching the commander's office. The lights are off, and the commander is not at his desk. Carthu can tell something is wrong, and he turns to tell the others to retreat, but when he turns, he sees the soldiers are all bleeding, dead on the floor. Carthu takes his stance and turns to face the attacker, a martial artist who looks very similar to Tao Pai Pai. The fight begins. The two are extremely even. Carthu's training had taken him to the greatest masters in the world. He thought his power was unrivaled, but this man was matching his strength and skill with little difficulty. The two fight for hours, and their stamina is running low. There is a level of respect and disdain between the two fighters, and the match seems like it would continue till they both died from exhaustion. But then, the two stopped their fight, looking at the watch beeping on the dead soldier's wrist. Carthu's face dropped. He breathed in and accepted what was about to happen. So, he sat on the ground and began to meditate. His adversary seemed confused by the action, as it clearly wasn't mocking him. But then, the alarms of the army base started to go off, and he realized what would happen as well. Unlike Carthu, the martial artist ran as fast as he could, but it was no use. The base exploded, hit by a massive bomb. Carthu, the martial artist, and everyone else in the base were killed instantly. The king thought this was the price of victory, but the conflict was not ended there. Another Blue Badge Army base existed, and it was also armed with bombs. This led to a war of explosives that ultimately led to the destruction of Earth. Oh, you didn't realize. Carthu is from Earth in Universe 6, and Carthu had accepted his death, but in life had been such a good person. good enough to catch the eye of Kami. The god of Earth met Carthu in the afterlife. He apologized to Carthu, saying he should have done more to protect the planet, something Carthu ended up trying to do instead. Kami continued to tell Carthu that he used his privilege as a divine being to grant Carthu an afterlife wish, excluding returning to life, of course. Carthu, without hesitation, asked if he could get stronger in the afterlife, and Kami nodded, curious what direction this idea was headed. Carthu smiled. He realized his journey didn't have to end here. It could just be beginning. So, Carthu asked Kami to be given a place to train to get stronger. Kami laughed. "I should have expected as much." And so, talks to the Universe 6's Enmadayo, who points to the massive road to his right.
"Take him to Serpent's Path. There he can train with Kaio-Sama."
Kami nods and brings Carthu to Serpent's Path. Carthu's eyes bulge as he sees how long the winding path is. "I have to run down all of this to get to Kaio-Sama?" Kami laughs.
"No. Kaio-Sama's planet is right above us. It used to be at the end of Serpent's Path, but he had it moved because food deliveries were taking too long."
Carthu looks up at the planet, excited to start his eternity of training. He bows to Kami, thanking him for his help, and Kami bows back, saying that he wishes they had met in life. With that, Carthu jumps towards the planet. The gravity instantly weighed on Carthu, making even the slightest movements more difficult. He stomped around the planet in search of Kaio-Sama, and unfortunately for Carthu, Champa hadn't reduced the size of this Kai's planet like Beerus did to Universe 7's King Kai. It wasn't as large as Earth, but large enough to be a hassle. Luckily, Kaio-Sama sensed Carthu on the planet and ran over to him.
"Wow, that was fast!"
Kaio looks around at Carthu.
"Wait, where's my pizza?"
Carthu explains he's not a delivery guy. He's here to train.
"Well, your outfit makes much more sense now. Did you already run Serpent's Path?"
Carthu shakes his head, confused as to why he would.
"Well, I'll only train you after you've ran Serpent's Path. Now get off my planet!"
With that, Kaio-Sama throws Carthu off the planet onto Serpent's Path once again. He begins to run along the path, and with it begins his training. An eternity of strength to be gained lies ahead of him, an eternity to improve and surpass everyone who faces him in the afterlife, an eternity of doing what he loves. Or so he thought. Over 100 years have passed, and everything was going normally. Training with Kaio-Sama, Carthu has become the strongest human by far, and he learned the Kai's secret technique, going as far as to perfect it. In the middle of a set of one-armed push-ups, something changed, but he couldn't tell what. Kaio-Sama looks at Carthu and gasps. Carthu's halo was gone. Carthu stands up and starts patting his head frantically, confused as to what happened. Kaio-Sama quickly scouts the galaxy and realizes that Earth has been restored to the way it was moments before the explosives went off. You see, Beerus had just used his wish on the Super Dragon Balls to restore the planet. Kami arrives on Kaio's world and quickly takes Carthu. They've been given a second chance, but they had to hurry back to Earth to save the planet before war broke out again. Kami teleports from Enmadayo's to the lookout, and Carthu then jumps off the lookout and flies directly to the Blue Badge Army's base. On his way, he throws a key blast at the secondary base, destroying the explosives there. Then, he arrives at the main base and sees the martial artist he fought over a century ago, who takes his fighting stance once again. But Carthu just sighs. He blitzes past the mercenary, simply saying, "You're not a threat to me anymore." The mercenary hits the floor in simple shock. No contact was made, but the blow to his pride was massive. Carthu uses his power to destroy the explosives, and he picks up the nearby phone. He calls the King of the World's office. He informs them that the threat is handled, and he tells the king to look outside his window. By the time the king and his staff make it to the window, Carthu is throwing the military arsenal into the air and destroying it one by one with key blasts. They were just as responsible for what happened as the Blue Badge Army was. Over the 100 years being in the afterlife, Carthu used his time to not only hone his skills as a martial artist, but his mind. Not in terms of education, but his thoughts on violence, such as war. Martial arts was a demonstration of power, garnered through rigorous training and discipline, while war was a simple play for power and dominance. War used the good of science to create destruction and leave death in its wake. Even the mercenary who fought for his own gain had more honor in combat than any wartime general or leader hiding in their fortified buildings. War would no longer occur on this planet, with Carthu there to protect it. Carthu inadvertently became the protector of Earth, and to cultivate future generations of martial artists, he opened up a school to teach his skills to others. He founded Carthu's Dojo. Meanwhile, Champa was being lazy and didn't end up visiting Earth yet. A year passed and the Tournament of Power had come and gone. Carthu felt as if something had happened, but couldn't tell what. Being erased was painless, and it felt as if no time passed between erasure and revival. That same day, Earth received a visit from God of Destruction, Champa. He was in search of two things: delicious food and powerful fighters. Universe 7 showed Champa that Earthlings could be of use in future tournaments, perhaps more so than some of his weaker fighters. This search led him to none other than Carthu, the strongest fighter on Earth. To be sure of Carthu's power, he had one thought: a sparring match. Carthu could tell that Champa was no ordinary foe, so he took his fighting stance and launched to attack. Champa easily dodged all of Carthu's punches and kicks and blasts, so he knew what had to be done. Breathe in, breathe out. Kaio-Ken. The Kai of Universe 6 had also manufactured a Kaio-Ken, remarkably similar to the technique created by Universe 7's King Kai. They even shared a name, since all it really is a title plus technique. Champa instantly recognized the technique because of his encounters with Goku. This made him shudder for a second, but Vados informed him there was no god form under that Kaio-Ken, which meant Carthu was a long way from Goku's level. The two continued their fight, but the power gap was still extraordinary. Carthu jumped back and laughed. "I thought I was as strong as I could get, but even my best wouldn't be enough for you. That doesn't mean I won't try it, though." Carthu took another breath in and calmly uttered, "Kaio-Ken times 1000. Carthu's aura exploded, larger than it was before, and his power skyrocketed. Every year on Kaio's planet, Carthu vowed to increase his multiplier limit by 10. And he was dead for 100 years. Before getting Super Saiyan, Goku went from a max Kaio-Ken of 4 times to 20 times in a matter of days. So, this isn't as unlikely as you may think. Carthu is ready to face Champa, but Champa tells him to stop. Next time there's a universal tournament, Carthu would be invited. And so ends, for now, the tale of Carthu. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, leave your opinions and counterpoints in the comments down below, and hit subscribe and the notification bell. That way you get to stay up to date on the channel and everything that goes on with it. If you're interested, please check out the merch store to support the channel in another way that gives you something in return. But till next time, peace!